In the global race for coronavirus vaccines, BioNTech Pfizer was first out of the gate. A proud achievement for BioNTech, the German company that went from startup to pharma superstar. Now, in the debate over waiving patents on COVID-19 vaccines, the German government is siding with drug makers, saying the protection of intellectual property is a source of innovation and must remain so in the future. The limiting factor in the production of vaccines are production capacities and the high quality standards, not the patents. Germany says industry and government should work on transferring technology to new manufacturers if they want to scale up vaccine production quickly. And in a jab at the Biden administration, German Health Minister Jens Spahn had this to say: "If the real problem isn't patents but production capacity and availability, then I'd be delighted if the United States is now willing to allow the export of doses manufactured there, just like the European Union."
Produziert worden sind in den USA auch für den Export freizugeben.
The U.S. is just one of the wealthy nations accused of vaccine hoarding, extending their immunization programs far beyond their vulnerable populations, while poorer nations go without. The pharma industry says that problem should be fixed first. But it's pictures like these from crisis-hit India which have brought the problem of vaccine shortfalls into sharp focus, prompting more than 100 countries, including now the U.S., to support patent waivers as a way to boost global supply. For many global health advocates, it's the right way forward.
Companies have earned a tremendous amount in this year alone on COVID vaccines, $7 billion for Pfizer. That seems like more than a sufficient amount to be investing in innovation in the future. Moreover, patent protection didn't deliver the vaccines that we have now. Significant government intervention and government investment from across the world has done that for us.
In India, meanwhile, the pace of vaccinations has fallen sharply. For these people, help from the global community can't come soon enough.
Joining me now is Stefan Liebig. He's a member of parliament for the opposition Socialist Left Party. Mr. Liebig, what do you think about the German government's move to refuse a patent waiver?
I think this is a very, very bad decision. If we look at our neighbors, at the Polish government or at the French government or at the Secretary Generals of the World Health Organization or of the UN General Secretary, Antonio Guterres, everyone is supporting this waiver. Only the German government is on the side of the pharmaceutical industry. I don't think that this is a very wise decision.
Well, critics say a waiver would have very little immediate impact because of bottlenecks in manufacturing and delivery of vaccines. What impact do you think a waiver would actually have?
We have seen this report from India a few minutes ago, and the Indian government was begging on the side of South Africa for such a waiver. They are not all stupid people there, and over 100 governments are asking for this waiver. I don't think that the German government is much wiser. If it is only bringing a little bit to help this COVID crisis, we should do it. As the trade representative of the US government, Catherine Tai, has said, we are in extraordinary circumstances and this needs extraordinary measures. We are supporting the US government, but our government doesn't.
The German government said intellectual property is a source of innovation. Pharma companies have invested billions into developing these. Do they have a point?
Yes, but the German public, the German taxpayers have invested a lot in those companies. So we have helped them to invent all these very, very important vaccines. And we don't want to cancel intellectual property rights at all. It is just about the COVID-19 vaccines. And I think this would be a very good and very important step.
Well, Pfizer is already selling their vaccine cheaper to low-income countries on a non-profit basis. Don't you think that's enough?
I'm on the side of India, of South Africa, of over 100 countries, of important organizations like Doctors Without Borders and so on. I think you could back and wait to some gifts from companies, but you can make decisions too. And this is what states are about. And this is what the World Trade Organization is about. And I really cannot imagine that the German government would block such an action if the US government is supporting it.
Stefan Liebig there, member of Parliament for the opposition Socialist Left Party. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And joining me now for more on this is Thomas Quaney. He's the Director General of the IFPMA, that's the Global Association of Pharmaceutical Research Companies. Are you opposing this patent waiver? And if so, why?
The patent waiver wouldn't really address the problem, because when you look at the images, be it from India or Nepal, which we have just seen, we need immediate action. And immediate action, the best we can do right now is we need more solidarity from the rich countries with the poor countries. Because of the Indian emergency situation, supplies from Indian manufacturers to COVAX, the Global Solidarity Initiative, have trickled. And we need to act fast. What we see right now is you have the US and some other rich countries now vaccinating healthy young adults. And in Africa, we have almost nothing. Therefore, we need those shares from rich countries. Europe started. The waiver wouldn't give you a single additional dose right now because the bottlenecks are different. And we are deeply conscious of doing everything we can, leaving no stone unturned to expand capacity. And by the way, to work with the developing country vaccine manufacturers. We have 275 partnership deals. We have more than 200 technology transfer. I've just 10 days ago held a media conference with the leaders of the Indian vaccine manufacturers, and they said the same as we did. The focus on patents is basically ill-conceived because it wouldn't address the need for know-how transfer, for ensuring that those manufacturing the vaccines do have the skill sets.
Pfizer has already sold $3.5 billion worth of this vaccine. And critics are saying Pfizer and other drug makers have made enough sales already through this pandemic. Wouldn't you agree?
This is not about, making money. When I look at, we have had several of the largest vaccine manufacturers like MSD, like Sanofi, like GSK, they don't have a vaccine yet, which means you had companies like Pfizer, BioNTech succeeding, Johnson & Johnson, AstraZeneca. And what they are doing is acting socially responsible. They do sell these vaccines at not for profit or at for cost or even below cost to developing countries. That's what we need to do. They do team up with partners in developing countries. We do have new partnership, for example, with a company like Bayer or Novartis. They were not even in the vaccine business. They have now come to help out, and that's what's happening. We have co-convened a global vaccine and supply chain manufacturing summit where we looked at what are the problems. The problems are the trade barriers, starting, by the way, with the United States with the Defense Production Act, which hinders exports of ingredients to India. The problems are scarcity of raw materials. And it's not quite true that, the private sector's just benefited from public money. When you look at BioNTech or Moderna, the two with messenger RNA technology, this goes back 30 years. And they got a lot of trust and confidence.
Thomas Quaney there, the Director General of the Global Association of Pharmaceutical Research Companies. Many thanks.
Thank you.